Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to PCM22. It's Classics Puncher, and this is episode number 9. I'm finally getting into that leadership status, into that role that's going to really start to change things within the series. Now, I don't know how long I'm going to stay in that role as we are just about to hit the end of the season, and as we enter the new season, even though I'll be staying here with the team, there's still every chance that next season the outlook's going to be different. Now the reason why is I'm still in that bottom tier of races for the team for this calendar year. So I've finally gone from worst of the team to good enough to lead the C team, I guess you could say. If I get bumped up to the B team for next year, probably are still going to be in that scenario where we're going to have to play support rider for a while. So we'll enjoy it while it lasts. Today, the objective is to get into the top 15 for this race overall. We've got a ways to go yet, but it's nice to actually have control of the team for a change because, of course, one of my areas of weakness is that stamina resistance side of things, and having your teammates support you really helps stretch that much further. Slightly unlucky that I ended up with a +2 because I was actually expecting to have a +3, so I'm a little bit off on that. Grelier off the back and on a -3. He might have a hard time catching back up 2.5 minutes down, but it looks like the tempo is really not that bad right now, and he and the rider he went down with seem to be catching up fairly quickly. Looks like they'll make contact again soon. We have a 9-man breakaway with a 4.5 minute advantage. My team does not have to worry about doing the chasing as Joseme is in that group. He is among those 9 riders. So with a teammate up there, somebody else is going to have to do that chasing. Now, if the objective is only top 15 and I was not listed on the top 10 list of favorites for the stage, it really wouldn't be up to us to be doing the chasing anyway. But that front group has already lost 1 rider, and it's from a fall. He was not lost on pace. He was lost because he fell on his own. The weather definitely contributing to more falls today. Let's hope I remain fortunate enough to stay on the saddle throughout the stage. Otherwise, could have ourselves a bit of a problem, especially if I don't have any teammates fall down with me. Now, once they're in that separate group, you seem to not have control. However, one thing that I am noticing that is different about PCM22 in Pro Cyclist mode, I thought that they really didn't do literally anything to change PCM22. Puncture! Okay, we're okay though. We got it covered before we ever even went out the back. So there's our bad luck for the day. Let's hope that's the only bad luck I face on the day with 76k to go. But anyway, what was the point? Oh, right. So it used to be that you literally only have control of the riders in your group when you're the leader. So if they're in the break, you have no say. If they're behind, you have no say. Not the case anymore. We need to speed up for this climb. Still 60k to go. However, this is the biggest climb of the day, and I'm not very good on mountains, so we can't afford to be drifting back too far, so we'll give that little bit more effort. We have plenty of time and plenty of teammates around to still offer protection for me to recover whatever we have to spend on this climb. But 78 seems to be doing just fine. In fact, I'll back off a little bit more. 77. Yeah, there's that blinking red, but not actually dropping back, so we're almost fast enough for the pace we need to be here. You don't want to be drastically slower, as you could fall back, see a little split, which we have seen a little split, and you could end up out the back of that, which actually I have a few teammates that did temporarily end up out the back. Okay, so Joseme is still up front, though he's looking pretty tired, so I have a feeling that group's going to come back towards the peloton here pretty quick. And now we're down to 2 climbs, one which is barely a hill, and we're seeing a mild attack right here. Some late breakaway Baradur type punchers trying to go clear. way too far out, way too flat for them to actually succeed at what they're trying to do there. But you can see we're actually not really getting any recovery in. You would think surprising, but no, it's the tempo. And look at all my teammates that are actually really struggling. So I might not have help when we hit that final climb, but if the whole field around me is super fatigued. Okay, this is not... These are at least a few favorites. At least a few of the favorites trying to attack late. This is not just somebody going. So, Ursuline, you're going to chase. I'm going to follow. I want Cabot to get up here in this gap, and Rodriguez as well. 3 riders to chase, though, is not good. But as long as there are some riders still pulling that back, and there is, we'll be okay. Next acceleration. This time does seem to be pulling clear a little bit. We just can't let it get up the road much, but as long as DSM is chasing, which they're not chasing too hard. Geshka, who just got a... No. Geshka did not get the win. Geshka was in the break, what, day or two ago, as I time of recording here in the tour, real life. So Arcelin just hanging on here, and those guys have not succeeded in going anywhere. Arcelin's out of energy, but we'll keep him working as hard as he can manage to work. And as long as we're not dropping back, another attack, and another fall from the break. They're down to 6. And now, okay, now we have 9 riders clear. So now it is time. Never did get water. Grelier is not going to be able to succeed at doing that. The teammates are what's making this particularly hard. They just don't have enough quality. I mean, we're down to just Cabot and I already. It's not like I'm pushing these guys that hard, but like, there's moments where it has to be us. Like now. Just a light moment. We're going to have the descent here. That does set me up now for the final climb, so we are almost there. Yes, I lack water, but I'm not the one desperate for it right now, so I think I'll just about make the 16K without. Gel up, because it is the ascent. It is this attack. Cabot, go ahead and bring me forward. Okay, that's left me nice and fresh. Just 59 left in the peloton. 6 still off the front, but they are just right there. Josame among them. I will have Josame's support briefly as we come forward. Not trying to attack at the moment. Not yet anyway. But it does seem like you want to go early on, don't you? Okay, I want to bridge this gap. There you go. He had energy. He had energy a moment ago. He did not conserve it while we were coming through, but no need to attack right now. Go ahead and put your hand up. There you go. We have the water. Venturini continues on. And let's bridge the gap again. Get up to this front group. And now it's a front 4. And no gap was opened. I need a little bit of red bar if I'm going to try to open a gap just over the top. But here comes the next attack by guys who still have it. And I do not right now. Now it's 24 chasing 2. Got a front 20 now. As the group continues to thin out. This is the top. This is the spot. You got to go full gas. Get away. And we have gotten away. And now we want to go hard on the descent, taking a risk with the fall. You're increasing that chance, but I do not have the acrobatic descent unlocked at this point. 21 seconds, 23 seconds, 24. We're opening that gap slightly. I'm only a 71 descender, but we are going flat out through here. 4K to go now. And we have plenty of energy red bar wise to finish on the flat. Yellow bar wise to finish on the flat. Red bar right now is going to allow us to continue to be up tempo. 16 seconds though, 19 seconds. It's yo-yoing, but we did lose a little bit as some faster descenders came up on us. But 21 seconds now, and we are into the final K. 20-second advantage. I think I'm going to hang on for... It's our first career win, isn't it? Got it. Got it. Just before the top, we were able to open that gap, pull away Venturini, who continued to attack. Kind of similar to how I did it. Gets away. Gull, and then Millard, and Zimmerman. Top 5, but we got a win. We get leader once. We get a slightly favorable profile once. And we turn it into a win. Yes, that was first win. Also, we achieved the objective, obviously, for the day. And the combination of the two, 61 points, put us over the top. So we have leveled up. Just a skill point for this one, though. This was the first time that you have that now gap between attribute progress. Funny thing is, I was just talking about being in the C team and that there was a good chance that next season I would be in the B team. And here we are a couple weeks later, riding in the B team. Nicky Terpstra, Daniel Oss, Edvald Bosenhagen are all here. So we are riding in the B team for the first time. And of course, just as I predicted, that instantly relegates us back into that domestique role. Today, we worked at the front. We've got our exceptional status. I'm a lot more fatigued compared to the other riders around me. And I have a -2 race day condition. I was expected on a 0 as my fitness peak is gone now. But still, a poor draw for the day. So with 30K to go, it looks like I might not even see the finish line in the peloton at this stage, as that the pace is quite hot, and with a 72 flat and this extra expended energy that I had, I'm not looking so good right now. We are seeing some yo-yoing, so that could help our position a little bit. At this point, none of the team is favorites. Bosenhagen's ratings are way down from where they would have been a couple seasons ago, as he's in his mid-30s now and not considered to be the fast sprinter that he once was. The breakaway still has not been caught, but they've split in half and they are barely ahead. And as hard as the field is pushing, you know that they're going to be caught quite soon. 4 of 7 are now caught. The other 3 down to 25 seconds. But again, my thing is just barely enough energy. Oss is the leader, not even Bosenhagen. That's how far he's fallen. Terpstra used up all of his energy and is out the back. That other group never caught us. We have not dropped those 4 breakaway riders, amazingly, and we have caught the breakaway trio now, so it's 31. 10K to go. I am just hanging on. I do not have enough to sprint or anything like that. All I can hope for is to still be here at the end, but with 8K to go, does not look to be happening. Also, we've been caught by the chase group, so there goes my chances of finishing even higher, as I'm out of energy with 5K to go. I'm going to go backwards. I was looking at the top 25. Now I'm looking at top 40. There goes all my teammates riding right on past. Oss does not look like he's going to finish terribly well. Decline takes the win ahead of Yarnay and Barbier. Oss took 11th. And yeah, I went from a top 25, top 30 finish to falling to 45th when that group came back together just before the end. Unlucky on that result. I do get the teammate completion on the day, but that's going to be about it. Daniel Oss's 11th I don't think is going to amount to much either. I still have yet to get a contract offer from Total Energies, and we only have about a week and a half left, but knowing the game, not only is it mandatory, required, you have to have a contract. I actually kind of wish that it wasn't, that you could sit out a year Wouldn't that be something if you were a total free agent and could just do a few youth races or something? That would be interesting. Anyway, being that that's not possible, we know we'll have a contract offer, but we've had a few so far, but we've already bypassed those because, again, the rules are going to be strict. You did vote. Thank you for those who participated in that, and what you voted on, of course, for those who didn't partake, was whether taking the top team available could include the team that we exist on currently or not, because the rule is take the highest team. The majority vote was to take the highest team regardless of whether that meant staying with the team we already are on or a different team. For this year, Total Energies was by far the best team giving an offer, or looking at us anyway, and they certainly want to re-sign, so that offer should be coming in fairly soon. That may or may not be the end of my season, because I know that at least for the next week, there's nothing on my calendar. In the future, this will be something to keep an eye on, as I will obviously make my way into this list, but not yet. UCI World Championships, the selected riders, not including myself, the short list didn't make the race day final list, does not include myself. Ultimately, a sprint one with the punchiness, I certainly would have been useful for it. And you could see that Nikias aren't close to his level. So I think by next year we should be at least making the short list, if not racing for Germany at the World Championships. My in-game teammate Peter Sagan nearly got himself a World Championship this year, but it's Fabio Jakobsen who takes the win. In my final road race of the season, we are once again with the B team, Bosenhagen, Oss, both here. Also, Peter Sagan, the leader today, as Terpstra is the only change, other than one other domestique for this race. So 25k left to go. Of course, I had the domestique assignment, so I did my work for the team, and then that accelerated pace here late on to chase a breakaway that actually had a pretty sizable gap. I mean, they were 4+ minutes ahead with 9 of them, so chasing them down has been pretty hard. And of course, that effort that I made early on just drained me so much. And while I've tried to conserve, you can see that I'm actually already on the verge of getting dropped here with 16k to go. There's 120 riders left. There are riders that are already out the back, riders weaker than myself. But with that effort that I made, you could see that with 11k to go, I am totally done, and I will very likely finish outside of the top 100 in this race. Gel kicks in, but you can see I'm just struggling now here to finish this thing. 6k to go. Let's hope Sagan can get a result so I can at least get a little bonus XP for him being up there, but with the pushes happening late, it's not looking so great for him. 3k to go. Still in it here at the moment. I'm not totally out of energy, but I literally have just, that ounce of push for the final line, and that's it. It's already gone. Kwiatkowski has taken the win. Postelberger, Youngles, your top 3. And I don't see us anywhere near the top 10 at all. I finished 46th, so one spot off from yesterday. Sagan was only 24th. Van Gessel, the other replacement rider, ends up 12th. And just a few days before the transfer season has come to a close, we finally got our offer from the team. And, I mean, you can see where we're looking for next year. Sagan, Latour, Villarmos, all still under contract, and it's a 14,000 euro offer, so that's pretty good money, actually. And here we are about to set off on our final race of the season, the Chrono de Nations. I do have at least a +1 race day edition, which actually is the first time in quite some time that I've drawn anything better than the prescribed level. We've had a string of negatives recently that it only amounts to about a -5 draw over the last 7 races or so net wise, but to get that +1 in there finally is something something accepted. But anyway, with that +1, we give ourselves stamina of 76, which is a slight bonus. We give ourselves a time trialing of 65, which is still quite atrocious. We are not going to compete for a good finish in the slightest, even if we get this perfectly. Right now, I do have a net deficit, but we just had 2 out of, 3 hills that you're going to see. So the rest of the way, you can afford to make up some ground. But it looks like my 74 is not quite making up ground as I would hope it would. So we're going to back off to a 73 now and try to recover. Of course, you don't need to have all of your yellow bar left at the finish, because you'll have a good kilometer or so of red bar to use up before you're fully drained. But we continue to drain at a rate that's not sustainable, so we're going to back off a little bit more, make it a 71 from here. See, we're actually gaining on the guy in front of us, but again, kind of thought 74 was sustainable over long distances, but I'm a weak time trialist and don't have very high stamina, so it does amount to a bit less. We've already finished that final climb, but again, with 7k to go, that yellow bar is nearly gone, and we're going to be into that red bar, which is going to have to sustain 3k. That's a big ask. 2k to go, 1k to go, and it made it to the finish line. So we just pulled that off by backing off just a little bit. So close to the right assessment on the effort level for the day. 26th at 2:32 down is actually really freaking good, as bad as I am in the time trial. We could have been much further behind, like say where Rodriguez is at 4:40 behind. In the end, favorite Stefan Kung took the win, 56 minutes, 37 seconds. That actually did bump me to 4 minutes behind. Bonner did get a top 10, though. Maybe I can get a little bonus for his performance. I did remain in the top 50 at 4:11 down. I think that's really good with that low of a rating. I mean, I easily could have been down here in the 6-minute range with that type of rating. Easily. Perfect example. There you go. Christian Rodriguez, 62 time trial, 72 stamina. I mean, we're talking about almost identical. Very, very close to where I stand. You can see our other teammate here, Valentin Ferron, 65. He's better than I am. And he finished at 5.5 minutes down in 76th. So yeah, that was a solid result. Obviously, though, not competitive. But that's something we'll have to get used to in this series. Definitely not going to be a strong time trialist at any stage. That's going to be our most neglected. We will never take a level in time trialing. Not a big year for moves. Most of the riders staying put. The biggest name moving is Danny Martinez going to Bahrain victorious. Lampart, Hurt, Turgis, Gaviria, the other larger names on the move, but honestly, that's some really minor moves this year. Nothing major happening in the transfer market. Only one team is shifting, and that's Alpecin Fenix, who somehow have jumped all the way to 4th. Somehow, meaning it seemed like they should have been there in the first place, but they certainly had the quality riders for it. It was, I think, finances. Cofidis is the one dropping down and kind of falling back into where they really are anyway as a high-level Continental Pro team. I just heard a stat during the tour the other day. Cofidis, who has been in countless Tour de France's virtually every year, primarily because of the flag that they bear, right? Tour de France, French team, Cofidis, larger French team. You don't have 6 or 7 French teams in the World Tour. Therefore, Cofidis gets invited every year. They have not won a stage at the Tour in more than a decade. I want to say, gosh, what was the last year they said during that stage? It was just one of those quick stats that kind of was said, and they moved on, and I just kind of went, oh, but remembering the exact date, it was 2006, something crazy like that. It's been a while. It's been a while. That much I'm sure of. But yeah, so them dropping back down, Archaea, we stay 22nd, right there near the top of the Continental Pro standings. But like I said, very little movement. That is something that is very unique for this game. Usually there's a fair bit of movement each and every season. World Tour rankings, Carapaz on top ahead of Pogacar and Van Aert. Sagan ended up topping the Continental rankings in the end. Good for him. He kind of came up out of nowhere, seemingly in September, because as of late August, he was top 15-ish because he'd been racing mostly World Tour races. But then you figure, what happens to World Tour races at the end of the season? They diminish, they go away. But there's plenty of Continental races still happening at that stage. So Sagan, who was racing like World Tour all season long, suddenly shifted his calendar over to the Continental races late in the year. And look what happens. He goes out and dominates. And I actually made it into the top 50 in the Continental rankings with just a single win. And, we had a partial leadership role 2-3 times in the entire year. So that's pretty dang good. On the Super Prestige, it's Van Aert who is on top of the rankings, but the same trio at the top. Kwiatkowski and Mader, I think, are your kind of surprise. Maybe Tunison, your surprises up there. Jorgensen in the top 10. Sagan ended up 20th. So he did amass a pretty good haul of points this year, despite declining with age and being on a Continental Pro team. Latour just inside the top 100. Bosenhagen just inside the top 200. And myself coming in at 270 with 265 points in this first season. I think if we were on a smaller team, we would have had a bigger haul because we would have been a leader early. Depending on how small the team is, we might have been a leader right from the get-go in very low-level races that we could have performed well in. I think we would have been a much higher level at this stage. But coming in, playing the domestique role in larger continental races, even if we were with the C team, but being in that role for the huge majority of the season cost us a ton of potential results and being in races that weren't meant for us. So this series so far has done what it was intended to do. It created a challenge that I wouldn't have otherwise had. That being, we ended up on a team way too big for us for this first season that led to us not getting that leadership role. We did finally get it in the first situation that was favorable. A punchy race. Leader. We went out and won it. But one victory in that first year is possibly the smallest total I've ever had. And it was definitely probably the smallest haul of points that I've ever had in an initial season. Maybe not, though. Maybe not. It's not nothing. It is points. It's a slightly decent haul of points. But I don't know. That's the feeling. That's the sense I have at the end of this season. Either way, still a successful year. We've made progress. We are approaching our next level up as you add in the November, December, January turn of the months. That's going to get us not all the way there, but that's going to get us most of the way there to the next level, which means we should have a level up somewhere over the course of January, as long as we have some races there. But now that we are seemingly in the B team, that means we're still doing continental races, but suddenly we're really racing alongside 1, 2, or 3 of those best riders each race, which means we're back to the domestique role. So the leadership thing certainly didn't last long. It was like, oh, you got to win. Okay, you're promoted to the B team. Just like that. Oops. So I think we're going to continue to languish as a domestique for a while yet. But we continue to game, we continue to progress, and we endure. That's going to do it for this season, though. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there, and bye for now.